This is Gotham TV Podcast, episode 91, about Gotham, Mad City, season 3, episode 12, Ghosts.
I'm David Mazuz, and you're listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
This is Drew Powell, and you're listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
This is Robin Lloyd Taylor, and you are listening to Gotham TV Podcast.
Hey there, Gothamites, and welcome back to Gotham TV Podcast, episode 91, where we're talking about Gotham, season 3, episode 12, Ghosts. I'm one of your hosts, Derek.
Hi, I'm your other spiritual host this evening, John.
Great to be back for this episode. Yeah, this was the first episode of the kind of mid-season return of Gotham. We had the winter finale last week, and this is the episode that followed that in January in the US.
Yes, it was. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yes, they had to wait a long time for that.
Yeah, it was a good old break now for people watching in the USA and Canada. Mm-hmm. Definitely, even longer if you're still trying to watch it in the UK.
That's true.
Obviously, still no word from Channel 5. Boo.
Aye.
Boo hiss. But you know, it was a really good little opening episode to, arguably the second half of this season.
Absolutely. As I did mention on last week's podcast, a little bit of business to get out of the way up front. We are on our holidays at the moment, so we will be doing a very, reasonably short episode, I think, on this podcast, because we want to get back to the sunshine. Woohoo! And what that does mean, we will be traveling, returning back in time for next week's podcast, but it will be one day late, we think, probably Thursday or Friday. Next week is when our podcast will be out for episode 13. So just make sure you subscribe to the podcast at gothamtvpodcast.com/iTunes if you're an Appleite, or if you're an Android person, just go to any good or evil podcast catcher and search for Gotham TV Podcast. Subscribe to us there so you get the podcast for episode 13 when it's released next week. But I think we should crack into the episode, John. What do you think?
Absolutely. Derek, what are the episode details?
Yep, this episode was directed by Eagle Eggleston, who has a really good flair for directing. He's done many, many episodes all the way back to season 1. The episode was written by Danny Cannon, one of our showrunners. He's got a lot of episodes this season so far.
He really has. I'm really pleased that he has done as well, because I've really enjoyed his stuff that he's done in this season, and generally the episodes he's directed. I think it was only the one where Jim was in prison where I think it was Danny Cannon who wrote it. I wasn't necessarily too fussed on that, but I think generally, like, he's really good, and he has an excellent eye for camera, like we saw like in the last episode, where he was doing the church scene with Leslie and Mario walking up the aisle, and obviously with Jim doing being walked out of the church by Falcone's henchmen. Yeah. Like, really good juxtaposition there, I think. Like, he really has a good visuals flair, and he is very good with the music as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Great writer for the show, definitely, and really good when he gets behind the camera too. John, do you want to tell us what they gave us with your synopsis for this episode of Gotham?
Sure. Investigating the discovery of a briefly reanimated corpse, Gordon and Bullock pursue ex-Indian Hill employee Dwight Pollard. But in the wake of Mario's death, Lee confronts Jim in the GCPD over his killing of Mario and screams for him to be arrested. Jim remains free, and a vengeful Falcone and a bitter Lee send Zaz and the Zazettes to kill Gordon. However, unsure of her actions, Lee visits Barnes in Arkham, and after seeing what the virus has done to him, Lee realizes Gordon may have been justified and persuades Falcone to reluctantly call off the hit. Elsewhere, Oswald is preparing for an important live TV interview, but starts to become unhinged by ghostly sightings of his father. On the day of the interview, his ghostly father sends a message leading him to kill his deputy chief of staff, and under the stress, Cobblepot starts to throw insults at Gotham's citizens during the live interview, unaware that Nigma is orchestrating his downward spiral. Despite all this commotion at City Hall, Selina accepts her mother, Maria, back into her life over dinner with Bruce and Alfred. As the sun shines on Wayne Manor, a crystal owl in one of the manor's many corridors reveals an unexpected secret. Elsewhere in Gotham, another secret is about to be revealed as Pollard plans to resurrect yet another corpse. One that can't help but smile. I wonder who Smiley Face could be.
There is no doubt this is the return of Jerome. Yes, we have seen him before, all the way through season 2, in that little tube. But it looks like the tube was rescued from Indian Hill, and may be coming back. He's coming back next week, right?
It certainly looks like that. Yes, the morgue has got a leakage problem.
Yes, it does.
A bit like Arkham. Yeah, it is definitely the Day of the Dead comes to Gotham. The mystery of these corpses lying around. It's a lady initially on the railway tracks, electrocuted, but that she had died several months or weeks ago, and now had managed to move from the morgue to the railway line and then get killed again. So yeah, what was going on here? And we find out that it is Pollard, played by David Dastmalchian.
Yes.
Who was in Batman The Dark Knight.
That's right. He played one of the Joker's henchmen in that film. Very recognizable face. A crazy look that he gets in The Dark Knight. Really
in
cool
Ant-Man
film.
as well.
He was in Ant-Man as well. That's right.
Yeah. So
but most well known as the Joker's henchman, which is quite cool. They've cast a Joker's henchman as the person that could be bringing Jerome back from the dead. That's really cool.
And could be a proto Joker henchman.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he is the one involved in this, and he's got a really big following. It's kind of a bit like how we saw the Red Hood gang again. We see the chaos and anarchy brought by Jerome's revisitation in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is still simmering away under Gotham, and Pollard is the guy who's kind of organizing that. He's his acolyte, if you want, and who is looking to test the reanimation technology, the experiments that had been done in Indian Hill to bring Jerome back to life.
Yeah, and it's quite cool. He worked in Indian Hill. He seemed to work for the Professor Strange in Indian Hill, so he seems to have learned some of the techniques from there and taken them with him. I really loved that scene where we had all of the acolytes of the Joker, or all of the people following Jerome. We're not calling him the Joker, right? Having all of those people in the room replaying that moment where he killed Captain Essen. That was the scene.
Yeah,
where he's calling out on camera and shooting cops in the GCPD, and they're all reiterating all the words that he's saying and laughing along with him. So yeah, it looks like his idea of freeing the minds of the crazies of Gotham seems to be getting fruition after his death.
Yeah, definitely. I love how that reel is playing, and you can just see Gordon and Harvey Bullock, who have followed him there. You know, they're onto him in some way. They think it's primarily down to the girl who's found on the railway tracks, dead after being reanimated. But I love how they try and take on this entire theatre, and seemingly succeed as well. I mean, they must be outnumbered at least sort of 50 to 1 or something like that.
Yeah, but they do shoot in the air and say the GCPD are here. So they do have guns on their side, which has probably driven a lot of people off. But also these people are acolytes and followers. They don't sound like they are the henchmen yet. So there may be a few henchmen in there.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I think from one happy family to another, and we really see a lovely moment here for our second note, that Selina and her mum, Maria, overcome a few initial difficulties, obviously, with the fact that she dropped Selina off at an orphanage, left town, and this is now the first time, in 14, 15 years, that she's returned suddenly out of the blue, saving their bacon.
Yeah.
But it's a really nice interaction, this. I think for Bruce and Selina as much as for Selina and Maria, and of course also for Alfred and Selina's mum. There's obviously a little spark, a little twinkle in the eye there. Whether it will go anywhere, who knows? But I hope Alfred does, manage to find love being cooped up in Wayne Manor as he is. I mean, I think, that would be a pretty good success rate.
Absolutely,
in fairness.
Yeah. He's so good they actually come round to his house.
Exactly. Cool. And I think as well for Bruce and Selina, the fact that Bruce persuades Selina to kind of think again about, starting to build her relationship with her mum despite everything that's gone.
Yeah.
To think of it as water under the bridge and really to let bygones be bygones and really kind of try and work at their relationship. And they end off in a really nice place in Wayne Manor.
Yeah.
Having another gastronomic delight from Alfred, who had just come back from voicing MasterChef UK. So he's got all the secrets. But it's really nice, I think, idea. Now, it quickly heads south towards the end, where poor Maria still being chased by her past to some extent, being confronted by some chap in the hotel room looking for Dosh.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I did definitely like the actress that was playing Maria. She has definitely got that look that's very similar to Cameron Beacon Dover as well. You can almost see them as mother and daughter. I really wish they'd been able to reach out and get Michelle Pfeiffer. I know she probably wouldn't have done Gotham, but it would have been very cool. They were definitely aiming for that look. People have said it many times, and we totally agree that Cameron Beacon Dover really does look like a young Michelle Pfeiffer, who played obviously Catwoman in Batman Returns. It would have been cool if they'd gotten her in for this part for a couple episodes of the show.
That would have been pretty awesome, I must say. Michelle Pfeiffer from Batman 2, under the helm of Tim Burton, all the way through to Stardust. Really, really enjoy it, and a great little turn in What Lies Beneath.
Absolutely.
A bit of horror.
Yeah.
Really, that would have been excellent.
In the same way that they got Paul Rubens to play Penguin's father in the movie, which is from Batman Returns as well. So it would have been quite cool if they got another member of the cast back to play another character connected to our characters in the show. That'd be quite cool.
Absolutely. But speaking of Paul Rubens, the Ghost of Christmas Past. Yeah, Oswald's father returns. Returns from the dead. He's been dug up, and presumably some witchcraftery is going on somewhere in Gotham, or so we think. But it's all a ruse.
I know. I really liked this, I must say. I was really thinking that they'd gone very supernatural in this episode. Very similar to Spirit of the Goat, I think, was the last one that was very supernatural in Gotham.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that this was something that Oswald was going a little bit crazy with everything that had gone on in his life, and that he was being pushed over the edge, or something had happened to him that he was seeing the ghost of his father. I loved the twist here, that this is something that was being orchestrated by Ed Nigma to drive him insane, and to drive him to call out who he really is to the people of Gotham. Fascinating. And we get our appearance of Clayface here.
Yeah, really good use of Clayface here. Yeah, really good. And again, they've not set a nice little precedent where, even for the audience, can you believe what you see now? When some of these things crop up. I suspect, if Oswald finds out, he might ask Clayface to turn into Isabella or Christine Kringle.
Maybe.
Just to really put the knife in.
Well,
we know Penguins like knives.
Yes, he does. But yeah, I really like just the whole flow of this, where a little clue's been given to him by his father saying, beware the birthday boy. So whoever's birthday it is going to be, they're going to be the ones responsible. And Ed's now set up the new right-hand man for Penguin to be the one that's going to take the fall for this. And yeah, obviously Oswald doesn't disappoint, stabbing and killing his new right-hand man in the back when he finds out that it was his birthday and that the body is in his office. So
I think it's a golf trophy.
That's right.
Yes,
Sorry.
yeah. I think he is. I think 4 would be the 4 hefty whacks across the head. With a nice bloody golf club on the trophy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I obviously just assumed that he'd stabbed him.
But I mean, the good thing about this is it's Ed Nigma, as you said, delivering on his promise that he will destroy Oswald. He won't just simply kill him or extract even some kind of minimal revenge. This is, he's using his father. He effectively sets Oswald up to really fluff his interview with, a harsh interviewer. It's almost like Jeremy Paxman of the Gotham world, and who's not a fan of Oswald. So, starts to ask probing questions, and really Oswald is all at sea. He's fluffing his lines, he's distracted, and ultimately, with the whole of Gotham watching this live interview of a mayor who's quite frankly done so much, really says, who cares about the people? Yeah. But we all know that about politicians anyway, so it should not have come as too much of a surprise to the viewers that maybe politicians don't necessarily have the interests of their electorate at heart, and in particular Oswald.
Yes, in particular him. But yeah, no, really interesting scene. I really like these moments, and again, obviously, how connected Oswald is to his father. So using his father against him in this way is definitely quite interesting.
And presumably, this is only the starter as well. Ed Nigma has still got a full taster menu to pass on by Oswald. So be really interesting to see what else he begins to do to Oswald.
Yeah.
I really hope that Olga doesn't feature in this, because I suspect she could get cooked or something and served up to him, or in the spirit of, what Oswald did to his foster family and his dad's former wife.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows how dark this storyline could be if Ed Nigma is absolutely going to destroy Oswald Cobblepot.
Yeah, anything can happen in Gotham. But speaking of revenge, I think on to case note 4. The last time we left Leslie, her new husband Mario had just been shot to death by Jim right in front of her.
Yeah.
Or right behind her, actually, because she couldn't see the fact that he was carrying a knife about to kill her. What we see here is that she is going after Jim. She walks into the GCP trying to find out why hasn't he been arrested. She calls out the fact that Jim killed her husband when he left the last person, Captain Barnes, who was infected. He left him alive. Yet Jim hasn't been arrested for the murder of Mario. So, it is a really interesting moment here. This couple have now completely broken apart. And she goes for revenge even worse. She sends Zaz after him.
Yeah, with Falcone. I mean, it is both of them in cahoots. And actually, I think that was a really nice touch that they put in this, that, Carmine does put the question to her, are you happy with this? Because you have to live with it. Really saying, this is what I do day in, day out. This is my bread and butter. But for Leslie Tompkins, this is absolutely against character. But you see the absolute bitterness in her when she confronts Jim in the GCPD. I still think that, Jim not being arrested, or at least not being sort of talked to about what happened, that maybe was missing slightly from this, just so that you got an idea of why he still remained free. She really has decided he is the virus, as she says, and that everything that he touches, gets involved with, turns to ashes. I really sometimes wish, and we've mentioned this before, that, I wish Gotham would see the potential in a storyline like that. I mean, her confrontation of Jim in the GCPD was brilliant. Yeah. I absolutely loved it. And to see that level of confrontation and between the two of them, who used to date, there was some tender moments between these two characters. To see that over a few episodes, I would have really enjoyed to just see where they took that, how they dealt with it. I think it would have been really nice. But we do see Leslie go and visit Barnes and ultimately call off the hit on Jim because she really sees that the virus is all consuming, all encompassing.
It's a great scene, isn't it? I love that moment where she's having a conversation with him, and Barnes is going, I was fine, I was in control the whole time, everything was fine. And then he starts to spin and spiral worse and worse, going, they will all be judged. Everybody will be judged. I love that moment where Leslie could have almost walked out after that first bit of the conversation with him, thinking Jim was still wrong, and then by the end of it she's going, okay, he is a nut job there.
He is, but there is still that whole thing that's been brought up about there potentially being a antidote or a cure for this virus. It's not out of the realms of possibility that could still happen. Therefore, I think this is it. I think her confrontation in the GCPD, her accusations against Jim still stand here. That he still could be saved, as could Barnes. Yes, it's all consuming, but it's a virus.
And he went, and the important part is that Jim went for the kill shot. He could have gone for the legs. He could have gone for the arms.
Yeah.
He went for the kill shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, as I said last time, I think for Mario, the bit of sympathy I have with him is that it was to do with the, not the Riddler, it's to do with the Mad Hatter's revenge against Jim. So actually, Jim is even involved with the fact that Mario was injected with Alice's blood in the first place.
Yeah.
And so it would have been nice to have seen that just play out a bit more, because I thought it was a really, really meaty performance from Leslie Tompkins doing that. It really was great to see that kind of visceral sort of reaction that she had, and to go all mafioso on Jim with Carmine, really good. And of course, Carmine does say after she's called the hit off, if it was up to me, you would be dead to Jim, when he goes to say that it's been called off.
Yeah, so very similar to why Tabitha Galavan is still alive, because Butch Gilzean's protecting her from Oswald. At least that's how it started out the season. But in a very similar way here, Leslie's kind of protecting Jim, because unless she gives the go-ahead, Carmine Falcone will not kill Jim. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if anything breaks down between their relationship. Does that mean the hit's back on Jim? Because again, he did kill Carmine's son. It's a big thing.
Like, that's still, I think, on the simmer, definitely, and can boil at any moment.
Yeah.
It really can.
Yeah.
We have then another thing that is simmering underneath the world of Gotham at the moment is the Court of Owls and this crystal owl statue that we had.
Revelation,
yeah, we have the crystal maze sort of projected onto the wall of Wayne Manor. As the sun hits the owl, a map is revealed. You don't really get to see too much detail other than that it is actually a map.
Yeah.
But it's it's very Raiders of the Lost Ark. I kind of liked it. I like the idea, cool, because I think certainly last week we were both there going, okay, what is it just like you just break it open and there's a parchment or something in there, or another key?
Yeah.
Or, some secret formula to kill only the Court of Owls.
Yep.
But this is really cool, because hopefully now we do get to see some detective work from the young Bruce Wayne and Alfred. But they don't know that this has the map revealed.
Yes,
they are still unaware of this, and are still trying to figure out what this owl means. So it was a nice little sort of nod in for the audience to kind of be ahead of the game there. But it will be really interesting to see this sort of develop, I think.
Yeah. It feels like their storyline is a little bit like a Russian doll. It feels like every time they investigate anything, there's something else behind it over and over again, So this is a map, but what's it a map to? What's it going to be at the end of it? Is it the end of the map? Is it going to be another key to something else? Is it going to be all of the files? Are they going to find everything about the owl statue? Right the way back to our first moment with Bruce and Alfred, when Bruce wants to go and investigate who's killed his parents. There's always been something else, all leading to the future of the Batman, all leading to something. He's never really achieved any of the final goals that he needed to achieve. There's always something else that's pushing them along. But this is really interesting. Really like this. I also like the little touch that Bruce says, we need to put it somewhere safe. And Alfred suggests the cave. If they put it in the cave, that means no natural sunlight. Therefore, they will never discover the map.
That is true. Yeah.
Like that little touch.
Unless they have it in exactly the right spot that when they turn on the lights, something happens.
No, I have a feeling it's going to be either they will see it when they're picking it up to bring it to the cave, or they'll never see the map. It'll be something that'll be hidden. So, intrigued to find out what
Definitely,
happens.
but it's good to see the old Bruce cave back in the equation.
Absolutely, at least mentioned.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think we asked David Mazouz about that in our interview. Would we see the Batcave in the future? He didn't confirm or deny it. So hopefully we will see the cave again.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, really good.
I think that's it for the top 5 points about the episode. There is obviously our usual Bullockism of the week. If you haven't entered our competition yet, all you need to do is email us to feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com with your favourite Harvey Bullock moment, and you could win our Harvey Bullock pop and a set of base cards for season 1 of the Gotham trading cards, kindly donated by one of our listeners. Thank you so much for that, Claire. Our Bullockism of the week this week really is related to the returning bodies from the morgue. Harvey Bullock says, doesn't anyone die in Gotham anymore? He's absolutely right. So many characters have come back so far, all the way back to obviously Mayor Gallivan coming back and getting killed again with a nice bazooka.
Jerome is being set up for his second return.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We had Fish Mooney obviously returning from what everybody thought was the dead. Loads of characters coming back. So yeah, poor Harvey in exasperation throwing hands to the air going, doesn't anyone die in Gotham anymore? How do you know when someone's gone? You know,
no one is dead potentially in Gotham
or in
anymore.
any comic book story at all. Just watch The Flash for a while.
Yeah.
Yes. So John, overall, what do you think of the episode?
Again, this was a really good episode, really good opener back into sort of the second half of this season. Yeah, I would give this another solid 4 bloody golf statues out of 5. To me, this was it was really good. For me, the best part of it was Leslie and Falcone and their sort of teaming up to send Zaz after Jim Gordon. I really enjoyed that, and I really wish that maybe that just sort of persisted a bit more and she hadn't gone to Barnes. Or even if she had done, that she kind of still realised there could be a cure. You know? So I think that was superb. I love the reveal of the map through the owl. It's got real potential to be a nice little anchor point for a good investigation into, you know, how you can destroy the Court of Owls or weaken them at least. And it was just a nice moment to see Oswald reunited with his dead father to some extent in this, but also the machinations of that new grouping now of Ed, Barbara, Tabitha and Butch behind that sort of slow undermining of the mayor of Gotham.
Absolutely.
And yeah, obviously to see Selena and her mum sort of reunited through Bruce and Alfred maybe having, you know, a little bit of romance blossoming here. Really, really good episode.
Although I did love the scene when Selena is stealing Alfred's wallet, and then his mom goes in for the hug and steals his pocket watch. I thought that was quite,
that was
good.
Very cool.
So I'm not too sure whether that was just part of the moment where she's stealing the pocket watch, or if there's really something between her and Alfred. Hopefully we'll see that in future, though. It'll be good to see that. Good to see them together. I think it's time to get on to feedback, John, and we have some audio feedback. If you want to leave us some audio feedback, all you need to do is go to our website, gothamtvpodcast.com. On the right-hand side of the website, you'll see a place to leave a voicemail for us. You can leave up to 90 seconds of your voicemail, or do what Claire did and leave us multiple voicemails, and we can stitch them together in the podcast and have a chat about your thoughts about the episode. These are on the last episode of Gotham TV Podcast, episode 11. This is Claire.
Hi John and Derek. First of all, I agree with John. Jim Gordon can be an absolute nightmare. I did enjoy the process of Leslie and Mario's wedding day. Mario's game of Guess Who Has the Virus was really intriguing. When Jim wakes up with Arkham written on his hand, it leads Jim to Jervis and one of my favourite scenes in the episode. The rhymes that Jervis speak leads Jim to Mario, but Jim was clever in himself as he manages to get it out of Jervis. Also, I'm glad my theory that Mario was injecting himself with the virus and was completely wrong, and he was infected by Tetch. The jealous rage that the virus enhances in Mario for me actually made him a really interesting character. I like how they used Lucius in this episode, running tests on Mario and then eventually noticing that there is a high dosage of virus blocker in his blood. With Jim pleading to Falcone to reveal where Leslie and Mario have gone on their honeymoon, and makes a good case if Mario kills Lee, then he won't be able to return from that place. You just know it's not going to go to plan when Jim promises he will bring Mario in alive. Then again, Leslie doesn't help matters when she admits that she cares deeply for Jim and always will. It's not really what a virus-filled Mario wants to hear. Ed's reaction to finding out from Barbara that it was his friend Oswald cut the brakes of Isabella's car was a scene of genuine enlightenment and heartbreak. I really liked the way Barbara gave the pieces of information, but still there was a little doubt in Ed that Oswald would do that. When Ed was very cleverly using his resignation to seek the truth from Oswald, I just loved the mix and horror and heartbreak of the truth. When Oswald tells Ed he's the best friend he has ever had and doesn't want to lose him, and then promises he will never mention the conversation again, I felt again we were seeing a genuine emotion from Oswald. Unfortunately for Oswald, he doesn't know that Ed has been visualising his murder. The surprise for me was when Ed went to the sirens and told Barbara, Butch and Tabitha that he wants revenge on Oswald. Not by killing him, but wants to destroy him. I definitely think Oswald has got one of the biggest challenges ahead of himself, and I actually don't blame Ed for wanting to get revenge on Oswald, as he very selfishly took away someone that was important and even possibly loved. The new team up with Barbara is very interesting, and maybe a Queen of Gotham will reign. So who is Selena's mystery mum? After some impressive scenes with Bruce, Alfred and Selena, and eventually using the key to open the safe, revealing a sculpture of a crystal owl. The tightrope work with Selena Bruce was brilliant. This little action scene really brought a tense excitement to the episode. As always, Alfred showing just what a handy butler he is and taking out Talon. Selena revealing that the person that has been watching them all along was her mum. Is she connected to the Court of Owls? More questions. Great to see Zaz back. Tabitha's hand was successfully saved, and no matter what happens between Ed and Oswald, I will always be Team Penguin. Thanks for the podcast, guys. Speak to you soon.
Thank you so much for the voice feedback there, Claire. It's really good to hear from you. And I'm really glad that you agree with me on my point of Jim. I thought that was a potentially a bit controversial, but sometimes you kind of get frustrated with Jim and his sheer sort of dogged determination, which doesn't seem to come from anywhere. But yeah, it's good to see that I have at least one person in agreement with me. Woo! Yeah.
I'm in agreement with you sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. I completely agree. Mario, when he was infected, that sort of amplification of his jealousy was really, really good. And again, he just seemed to go and become more and more like the Long Halloween's version of Mario, who is also goes I think slightly mad in that comic run, down to the Calendar Man in that case. But it's a really good look. As I say, he looked like the character anyway from the comic book.
That's true.
His eyes got bigger and he became more neurotic, and it was really, really good. I think, Leslie can most certainly be her worst enemy. Even just, she didn't know that Mario would go over the edge in that way. And I think actually at that stage, it probably was a harmless, I've lived part of my life with him. I'm going to have some kind of recollection, some kind of memory, some kind of feeling towards him, whether it's positive or negative. But yeah, even just the fact that she gives Jim a little hint that she still loves him as well, I think, it doesn't help. We know now, Claire, what side you're on in this feud between Ed and Oswald. Absolutely, Team Penguin. I'm wondering if I'm probably Team Riddler. I do like the Riddler. I like the Penguin as well. I'm Team Hatter. There we go. Someone who is got nothing to do with this feud. And I completely agree that look from Ed Nigma, where you see his life kind of just drop away from him, was really, really good.
Yeah. I think I'm always been an Oswald fan. I love Oswald. I always hate to see him being mistreated. But he did kill Ed's girlfriend. I do think Ed is the wronged person in this situation.
Oh, definitely.
But now that he's torturing Oswald.
Definitely, but I think from our interview with Oswald, of course we didn't interview Oswald Cobblepot.
No.
We interviewed Robin Lord Taylor, but I think with our interview of Robin Lord Taylor, the interesting thing that he kind of pulled out, really from when Derek asked the question, was that actually Oswald doesn't know how to really deal with other people.
Yeah,
he's a bit socially inept. He doesn't really know where the boundaries are. And I mean, from that place, he is thinking that this is kind of what you do, I suppose. He is a bit of a sociopath.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting feud that's going to develop here. And certainly given that it's one of, total annihilation from Ed's part, really, body, mind, and soul. And the fact that Oswald doesn't even know just makes it even more juicy in that sense.
True.
Selina's mum is going to be an intriguing one. I wonder how much more we will see of her. I have a feeling that she might drop in and out a bit, but I hope they do a nice sustained storyline of her, because is she connected to the Court of Owls? Why did she make this moment to reappear, or is she involved with the Whisperers? Who was the guy looking for money in the hotel room? Is it just that she's a crook, she's a thief, and she knew that there was something valuable in this location?
Maybe.
Just something as simple as that, but certainly a lot of questions there.
Absolutely, and she did disappear at the drop of a hat 12 years ago, so maybe we just will never see her again. But I don't think she'll leave Selina to these guys that have approached for the money back, I suppose.
No, and hopefully, it will be Team Alfred and Maria, both a handy butler and a handy thief, really coming in here to save Bruce and Selina when things get tight in their battle with the Court of Owls. That tightrope walk was really a nice little scene. As I say, I definitely thought it was being done for real almost. I think the way Cameron B. Candova conveyed sort of the concentration of doing it was really, really good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Definitely. But thank you so much, Claire, for all that feedback.
Absolutely.
It is really appreciated.
Great to hear from you, yeah.
Absolutely. And remember, anyone can leave feedback. Just go over to gothamtvpodcast.com, and on the right-hand side, there is a leave voicemail option, and you can leave up to 90 seconds of your thoughts, comments, or discussion points.
Absolutely. Or if you want to send us some written email, you can email us over at feedback@gothamtvpodcast.com, or come and join us on our group on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/Gotham TV Podcast. I think it's time to get back to the beach, John.
I think so. And the pina coladas.
I know. Right. Talk to you next time, Gothamites.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening as always. And we will speak with you again next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for being a Butch supporter. Butch loves you, baby.